Hannibal was outnumbered 2-1 and still destroyed an entire Roman army in 6 hours. On August 2nd, 216 BC, in a place called Cannae in southern Italy, something happened that shouldn't have been possible. The Roman consul Terentius Varro commanded 80,000 soldiers. Hannibal of Carthage had roughly 40,000. By midday, 70,000 Romans were dead or captured. Varro fled. One decision, Hannibal's decision to accept a battle he was supposed to lose, cost Rome more soldiers in a single day than most modern nations field in their entire standing armies. Here's what makes this interesting. Varro had the numbers, he had supply lines, he had the backing of Rome's Senate. By every rational measure, he should have won. But strategy isn't about resources alone, it's about how you deploy them under pressure with incomplete information against an opponent who thinks differently than you do. Hannibal understood something Varro didn't. Exhibit 1. Hannibal arrived in Italy years before, and Rome had already lost battles to him. The Senate was panicking. They'd suffered defeats at Trebia and Lake Trasimene. The political pressure on Varro was immense. Roman citizens wanted decisive action, wanted blood, wanted their army to crush this Carthaginian threat once and for all. Varro felt that weight. Exhibit 2. The battlefield itself. Cannae sits on the Aufidus River Valley, flat, open terrain. Varro chose this ground deliberately. Wide open space favored heavy infantry, which Rome had in overwhelming numbers. Hannibal had lighter troops, fewer soldiers, and a reputation for losing wars of attrition. Everything suggested Varro had made the smart choice. Exhibit 3. What Hannibal actually did. He arranged his infantry in a convex formation, a crescent moon shape, thinner in the middle than at the edges. This is counterintuitive. You're supposed to make your center stronger, not weaker. But Hannibal knew Rome's legionaries would push forward aggressively. They always did. He was counting on that. When the Romans attacked, Hannibal's center gave ground deliberately. The Roman legionaries, thinking they were winning, pushed deeper into that crescent. Hannibal's stronger flanks wrapped around them. Within hours, 80,000 Romans were surrounded, compressed into a killing box with nowhere to retreat. It wasn't luck. It was a decision made under pressure, knowing the exact psychology of his opponent. Now here's where the Stoic lesson begins. Varro made a rational decision with the information he had. More soldiers, better ground, political necessity. But he didn't account for the fact that his opponent was thinking 3 moves ahead. He didn't prepare for the possibility that his assumptions about how battle works were incomplete. The Stoics, writing centuries after Cannae, understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we control our judgments, our intentions, our efforts, nothing else. Varro controlled his decision to fight. He didn't control the outcome. He made an assumption about how the world would respond to his plan, and the world had other ideas. But Varro wasn't destroyed by Cannae. Rome was, and Rome's response to that destruction is what matters here. They didn't collapse. They didn't surrender. They absorbed the loss, 70,000 dead, and kept fighting. They reorganized. They learned. They didn't make the same mistake twice. That's the Stoic application for you. Defeat isn't failure unless you treat it as the end. Varro's decision led to catastrophe, yes, but catastrophe is information. It tells you something about reality you didn't understand before. The question isn't how to avoid defeat, it's how to respond to it. Rome's generals, after Cannae, stopped trying to beat Hannibal in open battle. They adopted a strategy called attrition: wear him down, avoid pitched battles, make him supply his army across hostile territory. It took 13 more years, but Rome won the Second Punic War. They learned from the worst day in their military history. This is where most people get Stoicism wrong. They think it means accepting failure passively, like a victim. It doesn't. It means taking the feedback that failure provides and making better decisions next time. Epictetus said, "Some things are within your control, others are not." Varro couldn't control Hannibal's genius, but Rome could control how it responded. In your life, you'll face your own version of Cannae. A project will collapse, a relationship will end, a decision will blow up in your face. The numbers looked right, your reasoning was sound, reality had other plans. That's not weakness, that's just the cost of making decisions under uncertainty. What matters is what you do next. Do you blame the world for not cooperating with your plan, or do you extract the lesson, adjust your assumptions, and make a better decision the next time? That's the difference between someone who learns and someone who repeats the same mistake endlessly. Hannibal was brilliant, but he was also vulnerable. He eventually lost the war. Rome was defeated at Cannae, but it adapted. Adaptation beats genius every time. The Stoics knew this. They knew that the world doesn't care about your plan, your effort, or your intentions. It cares about whether you can learn and adjust. 70,000 Romans died at Cannae. That number is real. That cost is real. But the lesson Rome extracted from that cost, the willingness to abandon a failed strategy and build a new one, that's what turned a single catastrophic defeat into a long-term victory. That's what Stoicism offers, not the avoidance of pain, but the extraction of wisdom from it. The next time you face a defeat, and you will remember Cannae, remember that Varro wasn't stupid. He made a reasonable decision with incomplete information, and it cost him everything. But Rome learned. It adapted. It won. Your defeat is only final if you treat it as the end of the story instead of the beginning of the next chapter. That's the Stoic lesson, not invulnerability, but resilience. Not avoiding mistakes, but learning from them faster than your competition does. Subscribe, we explore these moments where history teaches us how to think better under pressure. Subscribe, we explore these moments where history teaches us how to think better under pressure.